Alright, today I'm unpacking two big questions, which is how has Australia's religious landscape changed since 1945, and how do Christianity and Judaism guide adherents to live in peace? So I'm gonna start with Australia's religious landscape, and spoiler alert, it's changed a lot. So we're gonna start off with the decline of Christianity. Now, back in 1947, Christianity made a massive 88% of Australians. So pretty much everyone was Christian, or at least just said so. Different reasons, but 88% of Australians ticked that they were Christian. And then fast forward to the 2021 census, and census is just a vote taken every 10 years, to get an idea of religion and, what people identify as. So yeah, that number's dropped to just 43.9%, almost half as many. And why? Well, reasons can include the growth in the study of science and how it's explaining some mysteries religion used to claim. And also, if we look at the age range, a new generation is becoming older, and so they're kind of making their own choices. They no longer have to just agree with what their grandma tells them to agree with. So the rise of no religion. Meanwhile, the no religion category is booming. In 2021, nearly 39% of Australians said they have no religion, which is almost double what it was just 10 years before. But no religion doesn't necessarily mean no spirituality. Many Australians are spiritual but not religious. And so, people are just exploring personal beliefs. They don't have a set religion they identify with. Really common amongst young people, which you see in the graph. And honestly, I feel like it personally makes sense that young people are identifying under this. Just because, they're younger. As we saw earlier, a newer generation is no longer identifying as Christian, and that's because in that generation there's people making their own choices, and I think it's the same sort of thing here. They're making their own choices, they're not confined to a religion, they're exploring, they believe in some sort of higher power, but it's not confined to a certain religion. And now we're taking a look into growth in non-Christian religions. Australia's religious map is also more colorful thanks to migration. So we're seeing how Hinduism, Islam, Buddhism, etc. are growing steadily. So the 2021 census reports Islam at 3.2%, Hinduism at 2.7%, Buddhism at 2.4%, and Sikhism at 0.8%. And this raises a question of just why this diversity? Why are more religions becoming more popular in Australia? And these numbers reflect waves of immigration from Asia and the Middle East since the 1970s, bringing cultural diversity and new places of worship. Now we're going to take a gaze at Pentecostalism and church attendance. Interestingly, while most Christian denominations shrink, Pentecostal churches like Hillsong are growing, especially among youth due to the energetic music, emotion, and definitely has more of a community of just younger adherents in general. But hold up, here's the catch. Actual weekly church attendance across denominations is below 10%. So while many identify as Christian, fewer regularly attend services. Which brings us over to denominational switching also. Another trend is denominational switching. So it looks like Australians are kind of swapping between churches and denominations. If it feels off, it's not for them, they switch. For example, some Anglicans join Pentecostal churches while some Catholics move to non-denominational congregations with fewer rules, which is really interesting to look at, how people will stay Christian but also just swap their denominations. So they're still under the branch of being Christian, but we're seeing that it's a trend for Australians in the 2021 census to be moving denominations. And then this is a bit of a fun one, rise of New Age spirituality. So New Age spirituality, think like crystals, astrology, manifestation, and really all popular on platforms like TikTok, what we see online. And these aren't really formal religions, you're not going to really put it in the same category as you're putting Christianity, but spiritual practices focused on self-help, nature, and inner harmony. So just kind of a bit more modern and for people that don't really confine with a religion that others would. So yeah, that's really interesting to look at, New Age spirituality, New Age religions on the rise a little bit. And then we can see secularism's impact. So secularism is on the rise. Many Australians believe religion should stay out of politics and public life. So science, scandals, and a desire for freedom of belief have diminished religious authority in society. And subjects such as ethics and morality are often taught from secular perspectives rather than religious ones just because of this, which again, really interesting to look at. So that just means in certain areas not being able to teach about certain religions in schools. But then you also have your private schools and your school, like Catholic schools, Christian schools, where obviously you're going to be teaching about that certain denomination or religion. So, in short, Australia in the 2021 census is less Christian, more diverse, more spiritual, and also more secular. And seeing these trends and understanding them helps us understand the complex, changing religious landscape today. Alright, cool. We're moving at a good pace here, really steady. So now we're going to move on to peace in Christianity and Judaism. So this is just looking at how Christianity and Judaism guide adherents to live in peace. Starting off with Christianity, and we're going to look at sacred texts. Jesus said in Matthew 5:9, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God." Similarly, on the topic of peace, in John 14:27, this reads, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you." For Christians, peace starts within. Inner peace comes through prayer, faith, and forgiveness. So inner peace, it's about trusting God's plan even when life's chaotic. Many Christians practice daily devotionals, prayer, or worship music to connect with God, and this also relieves any stress or uncertainty and provides assurance or peace knowing that they can trust in God's plan and understand that there's no pressure for them to take the wheel personally because Jesus has got that. God's got that. And now on a larger scale, world peace. Because peace isn't just personal, it's also social and it's also a large spectrum. Organizations like World Vision and the Salvation Army work globally to help the poor, advocate human rights, and promote non-violence. Christianity teaches adherents and the general public that inner peace should inspire actions for justice and compassion in the world, sort of connecting that inner peace to world peace. Moving on to Judaism, we'll look at sacred texts in Judaism. So actually similarly, Judaism values shalom, which means peace, but also wholeness and harmony. Psalm 34:14 says, "Seek peace and pursue it." While Isaiah 32:17 links peace with justice, real peace comes from doing what's right. Inner peace in Judaism is found through following mitzvot, which is commandments, and likewise prayer and ethical living. Rituals like lighting Shabbat candles create sacred moments of calm. Likewise, connecting that again to world peace, Judaism promotes tikkun olam, meaning repairing the world. Groups like the New Israel Fund and Jewish Board of Deputies work for human rights and social justice, showing faith in action. So that's actually taking that faith and putting it into action. Now let's look at the common ground between Christianity and Judaism, as they both share these same principles of peace, both inner and world peace, and how those two things relate. So both religions teach peace from the inside out. Inner calm leads to actions that build better communities. Respect, forgiveness, and helping others are core values of both Christianity and Judaism. Whether it's volunteering or campaigning, faith leads to peace. So I'm just going to come to a conclusion now. Circling back to Australia's religious landscape, Australia's religious landscape has dramatically changed since 1945, as we've seen. So that includes less Christianity, more diversity, and rising secularism. Now moving again forth to Christianity and Judaism and the idea of peace in both of these religions. Both these religions guide followers to live peaceful lives through inner peace and social justice or world peace. And despite change, the pursuit of peace remains a strong, unifying theme. Thank you so much for listening. I hope these 9 minutes and 30 seconds gave you new insights into faith and facts and peace in Australia today. This has been really interesting, really good to look through, and just remember that peace is always in season. Yes, thank you so much.